So let's talk about monetization a little bit. When is the right time to actually go out and get sponsors? What's that like magic number of downloads where you should really be thoughtful about that?
Sure. So there's different schools of thought. Monetization for advertising is based on a CPM. So it's basically you get paid a fee per thousand streams.
Hmm.
So until you get up into like the say 50,000 streams per episode, you really won't make that much money to send someone away from you to go buy something. So, I'm always telling podcasters there's other ways to make money with your podcast. And I know as podcasters we spent all this time making this content and at some point we want to be rewarded for it. So I understand why people would want to get a sponsor in the first place. However, I think that getting a sponsor is like telling somebody to walk into your store and then tell them that there's another store to go to before they shop around, right? So I think that the ways that podcasters who aren't getting 50,000, and I'm not getting 50,000, you might be getting 50,000, but most people aren't getting those numbers. So there's other ways to monetize. The first way is to simply do affiliate sales. So promoting the things that you love and use, like you actually really use, and sharing that with people is super magnetic. And if you can get paid when people click a link to buy the things that you love and use, is a great way to start monetizing your podcast. So there's Amazon, there's all kinds of different affiliate companies that you could start to do that with. There's other ways to monetize, like building your own course and selling your own course, right? I always am perplexed at podcasters wanting to send someone away to buy something else. Make your own product. There's probably something that people ask you for all the time, your expertise. How do I do this? They keep asking you. That's the world telling you, or the universe telling you, that's what you should make a course about. And you can make this digital course. It costs you, you don't have to press anything or manufacture anything, spend a little time and lead people to your course or your service. Does that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense. I think that for me, the process of being a successful podcaster is this improvement in perpetuity, right? So if you're a brand new podcaster, you probably shouldn't even be thinking about monetization just yet. Just focus on the quality of your show, like we started with. And affiliate links are super easy, lightweight, like you mentioned, Amazon. The Audition, Adobe Audition. There's a lot of good ones, right? But building out a course takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. That might not be day one. Maybe that's in your 3-year plan, right?
Sure.
Your plan.
Yeah, I think it's chicken and the egg, right? And I truly think that the audience comes before monetization. So you need to spend some time, just build a community and an audience and make really great episodes. And then you'll have an opportunity to sell. You have to remember, we're sold, hundreds of times a day, billboards, Facebook ads, pop-ups. And when you stick something like that in your podcast, you're sort of signaling to people what's most important to you. So is 10 cents for an anchor ad most important to you, or is giving your audience either a huge piece of value or some type of entertainment more important to you? So for me personally, I've been approached by people to have ads in my podcast. I say, no way. That's not what I'm doing for my audience. I'm here to help them. That's all my podcast is for. And then I have services and products that eventually they will get led to, but I'm not going to jam that down anyone's throat in my podcast.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm in the same boat with you. And of course, one of the products that you've developed now is PodDex. So I'm kind of curious about this, Travis. So PodDex essentially are cards to help podcasters ask better, more engaging questions. How did you come across this idea? And tell me a little bit about the formulation.
Sure. So the story's a little bit long, so I'll cut it down for you. But essentially, I have a podcast editing agency where I help people like authors and coaches and entrepreneurs that don't want to, do the dirty work of editing a podcast and writing notes. I help them on the back end of their show. And so there's a lot of people that approach me for a consult or a call that they're not actually a good fit for me, or they don't have the budget to hire an editor, which I totally understand. So I decided that I was going to build a course so I could continue to help people that didn't want to work with me and say, I have this course that I distill all of the information I know, and you can do it yourself, because my personal goal is to help as many podcasters find their voice, grow their audience, and, start their own podcast revolution and maybe live the life of their dreams through podcasting. So I really wanted to help people. So I built this course that nobody asked me to build, which is a big
risk,
big lesson, right? So don't ever build a course that no one's asked you for. Anyway, I also subscribe to this marketing theory. I have this guy named Alan Dibb has a book called The One Page Marketing Plan, and he's a genius. It's a great book that applies to any business. But he talks about this lumpy envelope, right? So if you send someone an envelope that's lumpy in the mail and they open up their mail, it's the first thing that they'll open. They have to know what's in this lumpy envelope.
Hmm.
So I'm like, I'm going to use this as a thank you, like a gratitude thing, this lumpy envelope strategy for people who buy the course. And I'm going to put a deck of cards with unique conversation starting questions to help them have better interviews. Like, not everyone is as good as a Mark Savant at asking questions, right? You have to start somewhere. So I wanted to really get people results faster. So I made this deck of cards as a sort of bonus for buying the course, and I launched the course. And on day 1, I sold 1 course, and on day 2, 0, and on day 3, 0. But people kept asking me, "What are those cards you keep showing?" And I was like, "Oh, you mean like the little giveaway thing?" I thought it was like sort of a gag. And so I said, maybe there's something to this. So I decided I'm going to do what's called the minimal viable product. We've all read all the business books about starting lean. So I'm like, I'll call it PodDex because that was the only thing I could think to call it at the time. I pressed 10 decks and I put out an ad on Instagram and I sold out in 5 minutes. And I was like, that must have been a fluke, right? I got lucky. So I pressed another 100. I ran the same ad and I sold out in a day. And I was like, okay, this is something that's going to help people transform from starting out as a podcaster to gaining confidence to having ideas to being able to plan episodes. And here I am today, just about a year after this came out, where we've got multiple decks as products and now a mobile app that you can download to your phone and use these prompts to either engage your audience on social media or have really interesting conversations or plan episodes. And it's just one of those things where when I look back at it, I could have just said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to listen to what people want. But I pivoted and I said, okay, enough with the course. I'm going to focus on this. And I've sent PodDex to huge podcasters all around the world and little podcasters all over the world. And I've met some amazing people like yourself just through this little company that was really an accident.
Well, it's a really, I don't want to necessarily say unique idea, but it's just so great how you said, hey, this is the problem that's out there. This is how I can solve it in a unique way that hasn't been done before. And I just think you have you have several great pieces of advice there, but solve the problems that your consumer has. Don't try to invent problems for your consumer, which is a really easy problem to run into. And then listening, getting that feedback, engaging. It's really, really great stuff here with Travis Brown from PodDex.com, where you can really step up your question and answer game. Yeah, like it.
Yeah, so I think there's another reason PodDex really worked for people, which is sort of along the lines of the blue ocean. If you have a blue ocean idea, it's not anything that exists, but there's no real accessories for podcasters.
Right.
I mean, you buy a microphone and you buy headphones and you're sort of done. And I do think that people like to buy things and have things, and they're a lot of fun. I mean, I go live all the time and I meet new people and I just interview random people, and I've made some huge connections and got to know a lot of really awesome people just through asking really good questions.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's actually a very, very good point. People always are looking for ways to upgrade and update and get more stuff. And that's a really kind of like lightweight item that could seriously improve the quality of your show, especially if you're not as practiced and don't have a lot of experience. It can really get you caught up quickly. Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed this episode. I've got several other episodes right here for you. Smash one of these videos to make sure that you don't miss out on the tips, tools, and tactics of industry experts. Let's take that side hustle full time. Smash one of these links.